As promised, everybody. My name is Tom Britt, publisher, CEO, and the founder of the Town Post Network. And this webinar is designed specifically to talk about programmatic advertising as it pertains to the Home-A-Rama coming up next month up at Chatham Hills. Now, this presentation also can be used for other businesses and other things, but this one's kind of catered specifically to home builders, designers, home services companies, or if you're in the insurance or mortgage industry, anything associated with a home or buying a home or building a new home, this is kind of catered to you. So the beginning part of this presentation is kind of the same as the one we did just about 3 weeks ago. So if you watch that one, you're going to hear a lot of the same things, maybe even see some of the same slides. But the demos and stuff we do at the end of this will be specific to you guys' industry. So that's what we're doing today. Let me get my presentation up here real quick. All right, and we're going to start the presentation as soon as I hit the right button. All right, so that's what we're talking about today is Home-A-Rama. The teaser was how to digitally reach over 10,000 Home-A-Rama visitors starting at just $1,000. So a little bit of background. The Town Post Network, you guys probably see our magazines. Maybe you're advertising our magazines. If you are, thank you for that. We are a local magazine franchise. We have 19 franchise territories in Indiana and Northern Kentucky. We're headquartered right here in Fishers, Indiana, so we're local. Let me see if I can get my screen to advance. There we go. Many of you know us for our print advertising, or you've bought ads in our magazines in the past. Also digital through townpost.com. So we do advertising through our website. We've also been doing a lot of social media boosts. This is an opportunity to just get in front of the people who follow our magazines. And those are things that you kind of have known us for over the last couple of years. New services we're offering now, we are offering website design and strategy, search engine optimization, local listing management, Google Ads setup and management. We found that Google Ads work really well with programmatic advertising. So something we kind of had to do by necessity. We also do a digital press release service. And specifically, and today's topic is about programmatic display, streaming TV, and also video advertising. And so for this presentation today, we're going to focus a lot on programmatic display advertising. We will talk about streaming TV and video at the end, but this program we're talking about today and for the GEO-FENCING, programmatic display is kind of the easy one. It's the least expensive one. And it's really kind of an intro into this digital programmatic advertising platform. So just kind of give you a high level overview about what programmatic advertising is. I think everybody here has heard of or is working currently in some kind of traditional advertising medium. Traditional would be TV spots, radio spots, newspapers, magazines like the Town Post publications. We are traditional advertising. Digital advertising has been very popular, especially over the last 15 years, because you can target them, you get immediate results, you've got dashboards. It's very easy to get a campaign up and running. You can change it on the fly. There's lots of reasons why digital works so well. And programmatic falls into this digital realm, and it's really the latest and greatest as far as digital advertising. So what is programmatic? Well, programmatic by definition is the ability to relay the right message to the right person at the right time. How does it do this? Well, as you're surfing the web, whether you're on an IndyStar website or on townpost.com, or maybe you're on a mobile phone and you're on a game like Candy Crush, or you're checking the weather, whatever you're doing as you travel around the internet all day long, you have cookies and various profiles that kind of follow along with you. And so we don't really necessarily know who you are, but we know what your devices are doing. We know the history of what you've been reading. We know websites you've been to. We also know physically, if you have location services turned on, where you physically have been. And that data can be used to then target you with digital advertising on your devices. These ads, we talk about programmatic display. There's 5 different sizes of ads. This is one we did for the dentist at Gateway Crossing, which I'll show you a data dashboard report here in a few minutes. But this is just the different sizes of ads. You'll notice when this page was loaded, how the ads kind of are animated. We do that intentionally. We want to get people's attention. We figure they don't have too much time. They're probably not looking for an ad. And once they see an ad and it pops up and it's something relevant because they've been targeted, they're more likely to click on it. So that's what these ads kind of look like. If you guys are doing Google ads currently, or you're familiar with the Google ad network, just kind of give you a comparison. The Google ad network is a great network, and you can do keyword search, which is the most common, but they also have the Google display network, which allows those Google ads to appear on other publisher websites beyond Google. Then you got programmatic on the right-hand side, and the programmatic is over 20 ad exchanges. So these are the ad networks that all the major websites that drive all the traffic on the web today, is the sites that they use and the platform they use to sell and present display advertising on their sites. Well, there is some overlap between the two, because a lot of websites, if you go to like USA Today website or IndyStar even, or even some of the local blog sites here in town, they're using both Google ads, and they're using programmatic advertising as well. So you'll see some overlap in the middle, but just keep in mind that Google ads can reach about 75% of the web, and programmatic ads can actually reach 95% of internet websites and streaming platforms. So how do we do this? Well, we can target people based upon where website that they've visited. So again, if they've been to a website and there's been keywords on that page that we're trying to target, we can now start showing them ads because we know they're reading about something that we wanted to target. You can also target them based on articles and content that they're reading. You can target them on locations that they visited, so somewhere they physically have gone. And we'll talk about that geofencing in just a second. You can also target them on household information, like, what their interests are, what their buying behaviors are, male or female, how many children they have at home. If grandma and grandpa's living at home, we can target people based upon those types of demos. And lastly, this events that they've visited or attended, this is what they call event geofencing, and that's what we're going to talk about with Home-A-Rama. So to set the stage, each of these campaigns we do through programmatic also has dashboards, and they all have their own analytics, which are real time. They update every night at midnight, but they allow you to see how your campaign's doing almost in real time. So each one of these campaigns comes with a dashboard. On the right-hand side, this is kind of a few graphics from one. I'm going to show you some actual campaigns so you can kind of see how this works. But it tracks how many impressions you're getting, how many clicks you're getting. And what the software does, it uses AI to automate the bidding so that the ads that are getting shown and clicked on the most, the ads are getting clicked on the most, will get shown the most, also to the people who are most likely to click through. So programmatic display ads typically get about a 17% click-through rate, versus the average click-through rate on digital is about 0.09 or 9% click-through. So it's almost double the click-through, again, because we're targeting people who are more likely to click on your ads. Let's see if I can get this to advance. So to do programmatic advertising, we actually have 5 different tactics that we can use to target people online. So all 5, any of these can be used, and in most cases, we use all 5 tactics at the same time. So geofencing and geo-targeting are very close. We'll explain what those are. We also do keyword retargeting, site retargeting, which is your website, people visiting your site, then get targeted to start seeing ads that come back. And the last one is audience curation, which I think will be interesting to many of you on the call, because some of the audiences and some of the demographics we can profile of people online are very interesting people in the home services industry. So let's talk about geo-targeting. We have to do this with every campaign, no matter what. This is the ability to draw either a radius or use zip codes or a city or a county. But basically, we're kind of defining the area of the people you want to target at the very beginning. So most of you are probably not trying to target national people. You're trying to target people in Hamilton County or people in 6 different zip codes. So this is kind of the 101 of targeting, is just getting down to the right area. This is similar to what you do on Facebook or Google. In Google, you can do zip codes. You can draw radiuses from your location. Facebook, you can do radiuses from your location or cities. But this geo-targeting at the very highest level is kind of the first way to kind of start targeting people that you want to try to get into your business. The second one's called geo-fencing. Now, fencing is much more accurate. This gets down to the street level. This is an example. This is actually a real geo-fence we did for a new restaurant down Union Station called Nevermore. So we actually drew a fence around downtown, and we included Mass Ave. And so basically, once those coordinates were entered into the system, anybody who's inside this fence or drives through this fence or walks into this fence with their mobile device will start getting targeted for ads for Nevermore. So think about targeting your competitors. I think the most popular thing we see is builders in particular will geofence model homes that are not theirs, but maybe in the same price range. So let's say you're a home builder and you're building, $1 million homes on up. Well, we can geofence model homes or homes that where builders are taking their customers to. And if anybody walks into that fence with their phone and they walk out, they're now targeted, not just on their mobile device, but they're also targeted on their devices when they get home, on their tablets, on their laptops or PCs. We also can target them on their internet television as well. Another example would be like this Home-A-Rama doing event targeting, which I'll show you here in a second. And also just places your customers might go to. Maybe there's a nice restaurant in town that all your customers go to, or maybe there's a gym or a park somewhere. So geofencing is a way to kind of put a stationary, invisible fence around a property. And if anybody goes into that property, they now get targeted and start seeing ads for you. So geofence target zone. So this is Chatham Hills, kind of a rude map. They don't have really that great a map online right now, so I had to kind of use what I could. But this red line represents an area where we intend on geofencing for Home-A-Rama. Again, anybody who's going through these model homes, I think that's like the 9th hole or so on this course. Anybody who walks into that fence and walks through those homes will start getting targeted and start seeing ads for all the people that are advertising through this programmatic display program. We did an example, just an example of event fencing. We did the start finish line at the mini marathon this last April. One of our clients is Run 317. You guys may have seen their races around town. They do races on Thursday nights. So they wanted to target people who are going to run a mini and say, hey, if you want to run a mini, why don't you come run one of our Thursday night races, have some beers, have a live DJ. So we did the event fencing, and for up to 30 days after the event, anybody who ran through that fence started seeing ads for Run 317. It was a very effective campaign, by the way. So one of the nice things about doing event fencing or geofencing, and one of the things we can do for you guys is we can set up what's called a conversion zone. So imagine we can geofence any of your competitors or parks or any place your potential customers may go. But we also can geofence your location, your showroom, your model home. And the way this works is if somebody gets targeted, they start seeing ads through programmatic display or otherwise, then they actually physically come into your fence that shows up on your report as a conversion. So here's a real example. This is one that we just did. You'll see that top line had 168,000 impressions. That's that light blue line. The dark blue line is how many clicks that they got on their programmatic advertising. And this is by day. So you can kind of see the spikes and the ebbs and the flows. But at the bottom, it says 21 conversions. So there are 21 people who got targeted, saw ads, and then physically came into their location. So another tactic we can use, and I'm going to kind of hit these at a higher level and go back to the geofencing for Chatham Hills in just a minute, is keyword search. So again, as you're online, you're searching for things, you're reading articles online, you're going to competitors' websites, whatever it might be, those keywords kind of follow you around. And what we can do with every campaign is one of the 5 tactics, is we can upload keywords or phrases that if somebody is reading about something or Googling something or on a website that has a certain keyword or phrase on it, they can then get flagged to start getting targeted to see ads from you. This is very, very effective. We're finding this is It's kind of a what I call a passive aggressive way of marketing and picking up some of your competitors' names. We've got one campaign running with a hospital network who use the competitive names of doctors who work for other hospitals. So imagine you're on a website, you just got diagnosed, you need some kind of surgery, you go look up the surgeon at a competitor, you look up their name, and all of a sudden now you start seeing ads for this hospital client of ours. So it's very, very effective, but the keyword search is just one of the 5 tactics we can use. I mentioned the site retargeting, that's the website retargeting. So 97% of the people who visit your website will just leave, they don't come back. And what we can do with programmatic is we send you what's called a pixel. It's basically just a small snippet of code once your campaign's set up. You add that to your website, it's invisible to the user. It's kind of like Google Analytics code. But then if somebody comes to your website, whether it's through a programmatic ad or they just came in because they saw a print ad in our magazine or business card or whatever, however they came to your website, and then they leave, they start getting targeted, they start seeing ads to come back to visit your website. And statistically, they found that about 70% of those people actually do return if they see ads programmatically to come back to your website. This last one is going to be the one that's going to kind of blow you away a little bit. This is the one I always leave for last because people just think I'm bragging, but it's audience curation. It's the ability to target people based upon their behaviors, what they've bought in the past, mortgage information. I mean, you name it, we can target people just about at any level. And these are audience curated lists that we have access to. There's over 5,000 different ways we can target people, and there's several hundred different data sources we can tap to start targeting people. So to give you some examples, and this is when I start showing off a little bit, and this is specifically to the home industry. Again, I'm trying to cater this to the audience today. But we can profile people based upon their census data, which is home value, people in your home, age, income. Also, if they're recently divorced or married, they're likely to move in the next 90 days. Maybe they're new parents or they're a recent empty nester. We can target them if they have a home that's greater than $1 million in value. We can target them if they're high-income consumers likely in the market for a mortgage. And how do we know this, by the way? Well, it's because they've been online on certain websites have flagged them. Maybe they've put an inquiry in for interest rates or something. They've done something on the internet to flag them that they're likely in the market for a mortgage. Also, first-time home buyers, we can target those folks. And I got some more examples here. We can target them based on their mortgage amount, likely to be shopping for insurance as a profile that we can target. Again, very useful. Interested in interior design, real estate investor, net worth greater than $500,000. We can profile them based on their property size. If they have a 1/4 acre lot or a 10-acre lot, we can profile these folks and target them. The number of bedrooms they have in their current home, how many children they have. If you have a house that's got 16 bedrooms, you probably want to target people that have more than one child. What their owner's credit tier is. Active mortgage applications. So basically they're in the process of trying to get a mortgage. We can start targeting them before they even get it. Also, work from home or a Soho business. All those are just different tactics that we can use to profile people. And that's just a sampling of what we can do. I always tell people, let's talk first and try to figure out what you're trying to do, who you're trying to attract. And we usually come back and pour through all 5,000 to come back with the top 3 or 5 that are best for you, and also come back with an audience sizing report to tell us how many people and how many devices we actually can target that are likely to be in your wheelhouse. For September, this next Town Post magazine that closes out this Friday, we are doing a special Home-A-Rama issue. I put Westfield up because Westfield is actually going to be inserted into the first 5,000 goodie bags at Home-A-Rama, and that's Brandon Balls, who's also on this call. He's taking care of that, but the content is also going to be run in all, well, at least 3 or 4 or 3 other magazines. So Carmel, Boone County, and Noblesville magazines. So 55,000 households will be getting these stories we're writing about Home-A-Rama for our September issues. And Westfield will be the flagship actually in the bag at Home-A-Rama. And I only say that because If you guys want to do a programmatic campaign and you're not an advertiser with us, there is a setup fee to do that. Otherwise, if you're a print advertiser, we waive that fee, and you can get into this issue just for $500 and on up. So I highly recommend, if you are in the trades and you guys want to be in that bag, you do some print and some digital. Again, I always tell people you got to do both. Nobody's going to click on an ad for somebody they've never heard of. And if they go through those houses, you don't have a lot of signage, or you got business cards on an end table, it's very unlikely that they would recognize your name after a couple days leaving the event. The deadline for this issue is this Friday, August the 12th. If you're watching this recorded, disregard that message, obviously, but that's the issue we're working on. If we talk about the cost, can I give you an idea how much it costs to do this? Again, the minimum campaign spend is $1,000, but it could be over 2 months. You don't have to spend all $1,000 in 1 month. We've had some people spend $5,000 in 10 days. Just depends on the campaign. The cost anywhere from $10 to $15 CPM, which means per 1,000. So 1,000 impressions, if you went at the $15 CPM, would be $1,500 to get 100,000 impressions. You can use all these tactics. You don't have to use all 5, but in most cases, we use at least 3 or 4 of the tactics. There's no additional charge to do the site retargeting or the pixel or anything like that. And the dashboard and all the creative is also included in that cost. To give you an idea how that breaks down for you, this 100,000 impression campaign is typically $1,500. For the Home-A-Rama folks, we're discounting it down to 1,000 to get you to try it. So for $1,000, you get 100,000 impressions, and that's during the event and then after the event, and that's about a 30-day campaign from start to end. So from the days when the event starts until about 2.5 weeks after the event, you get all those impressions in that 30-day window. You also can do 250,000 impressions for $2,500. And if you're a big spender and you've got deep pockets and you just can't wait to do this, you can buy 1 million impressions for 10 grand. Again, that does not have to be in 1 month. We have several people that come in and do 250,000 impressions over the course of like 3 or 4 or 5 months. Just depends on how much visibility you want, how many impressions you want to buy. Again, you're not buying clicks, you're only buying impressions. So that's your ad being served to somebody on their devices or their mobile devices or their computers or whatever, not necessarily clicking on you. Okay, point of clarification. We also can do streaming TV, OTT, and CTV. So any of the major networks like Roku, Netflix, Prime, HBO Max, Tubi, Sling, Hulu, Peacock, all of the major streaming providers, we can actually target viewers on those devices. Again, 80% of America has unplugged. So you're talking about 80% of the users out there we have access to, and that's $75 per 1,000. There's no minimum on that. So what we typically tell people, if they're already running spots somewhere else, like if they're running spots on like CBS, one of the local TV networks, or they're buying it through like Channel 13, NBC's network, you're only getting their network and access to their digital inventory on their website. This actually includes them and everybody else. So this sits above everyone, and it's also taking advantage of the targeting. Again, if you're buying television ads on Channel 8 locally, and they say, well, we can target you your online stuff, but they really can't target your TV viewing that well. With this, we're targeting them based upon their demographic profile. We're targeting them because they went to Home-A-Rama, now they're flagged. So those people were maybe fewer people, but they're much more targeted, and they're much more likely to react to a $75 per CPM display ad. This third option here is pre-roll video ads. This is through YouTube now and streaming websites. So again, if you're watching a video clip on the local Fox 59 and they're showing some videos about the weather, or it's a clip they did about a shooting or something, these pre-roll streaming ads can appear on their networks as well. This is their remnant inventory. So this is not buying it straight through them. It's actually coming through the ad network, which they sell a lot of their inventory to that's not sold. So that's a $30 CPM rate. Put a creative fee on both of these for $1,000. That's a very round number. If you don't have video creative, we have to shoot it. It's just a matter of working with our guy locally. You get that shot and created, and then you just pay him direct. We don't mark that up. And then once that creative is done, we can start loading and launching these campaigns. I thought what I'd do now is take you through, I'm going to show you a couple samples of some reports. So this is what a report looks like. This is for a local chiropractor. He's been doing the campaign now for a couple months, but you'll see they've got 51,000 impressions, a click-through rate of 0.13, which is a little lower than normal. But what's impressive is 6 conversions. And you say, well, what's a conversion? I mean, 6 people showed up. Yeah, 6 people actually showed up and actually came to his practice. And if you go back to these tactics, it tells you where the conversions came from and where the clicks came from. So you'll see this says AAC, which stands for audience curation. So they got some impressions and some clicks. These are people who are likely to go to a chiropractor. They're into health and wellness, they're of a certain age, certain income. This GF stands for geofencing. So we're geofencing a lot of his competitors around town. We also have site, and we have SRT and keywords. So this is keyword retargeting and site retargeting. You can see that 5 people have converted through site retargeting. So that's people that got targeted because they went to their website, maybe through a Google ad or otherwise. They started getting retargeted. They actually clicked back through and they actually showed up to his office. But you can kind of go through these reports. This isn't refreshing as well. That's what the little mark right there means. Maybe I'll have better luck with the dentist at Gateway Crossing. This is a dentist. I'd say similar business, healthcare. What's interesting with him, he's not getting a whole lot of clicks on his campaign. It's a 0.21, it's 21% click-through rate, which is really, really pretty good. But he's got 17 conversions. And so you say, well, what on earth? Where are these people coming from? Well, all 17 conversions are coming from geofencing. Well, who's he geofencing? Okay, well, he's geofencing every one of his competitors within about a 10-mile radius. And so he's had 11 people come from the guy across the street. He's had 2 people come from Main Street, Fortville, another one from McCordsville, somebody else from McCordsville. And then also goes down to keyword retargeting. We can tell you what keywords are the most popular that are getting converted on. So 24% of the people that have the word dentist and get targeted are now clicking on his ad. 18 of them have clicked through. That's a 24% click-through rate. They put something else in dentist, 38%. So this detail of data is something that you guys can see. You can see it every night after midnight. It even breaks it down by artwork to show you what ads, how they're performing, which ones are getting the most clicks. And since it is digital, obviously we can change that on the fly. So with that, I'm going to kind of open this up at this point. This is the end. If you scan this QR code on the screen, or just go to that URL at the bottom, townpost.com/programmatic-inquiry, you actually can submit your information. It's a little different inquiry form than what you filled out initially to sign up for this webinar, but it does ask you some things about what you're trying to target and what you're currently doing. Gets a little more specific about what you're looking to do, and we'll be sure to get back to you usually within 24 to 48 hours to schedule a call and maybe talk through your particular programmatic campaign and see what we can do to help you guys. But with that, I'm going to stop the recording